Hello folks, Crazy Campy here once again. I also have a channel called Ontario Parks, but please subscribe right up here if you haven't yet, and we'll keep this discussion going. So, after episode 3, we're all on day 7 now. Mary Kate is out. I knew that was going to happen. I'm sure most of you did as well. Jock Campbell, who often posts below, he gave me his top 10 rankings with some explanation, so I'm going to post his in the description. Maybe we can start a little game going. So I'm 2 for 2 if I count Desmond by default. Mary Kate's kind of default too, so I'll give Jock 2 points. If anyone else wants to join in, we'll start you at 2 points too. So please post below. Anyways, we got lots to talk about. Let's jump straight into the rankings right now. Desmond White, get out of here. Mary Kate, I'll talk about her a bit. I felt bad for how she ended. Larry Roberts, number 8. Justin Vititoe, number 7. Randy Champlain, number 6. David McIntyre, number 5. Nicole Apelian, number 4. Jose Martinez, number 3. Tracy Wilson, number 2. And ranked number 1, I have to keep Mike Lowe in there. So we'll first talk about Mary Kate. So she finished 9th mid-morning on day 7. She hit herself with the axe and might have lost complete use of her thumb. But that would have required stitches anyways. You can notice she went into shock with all the shaking. But she didn't hesitate at all. She went straight to the beach and got the emergency kit out and pushed the button to send out the signal saying, "Hey, I'm done. I'm tapping out. Come pick me up." Would have been nice to see how far she could have gone. But one slip with a poor axe technique and you see what happens out there. I will try to find out how her thumb or her hand are. Maybe she posted a video this week. I'll take a look at that and put it in the description below. But as one commenter said that, yeah, that sucks that she did that, but hopefully that'll wake the public up to improper use of an axe. So we're learning the hard way vicariously by watching her. Hope she's okay. Moving on to number 8, Larry Roberts. Now, it was a tough decision, but I'm sticking to this because I said all along, he has the worst spot. Now we've seen all 10 contestants and everyone else has a better spot. We saw him struggling on uneven ground. He still had the same shout there at the start of day 7 as he made on day 1, which wasn't even elaborate at all. It's still open. Didn't work on it because he knew he was moving. And now he's moving up to higher, more uneven ground away from the creek, which is scaring him, naturally. But overall, we could see his frustration starting to eat away at him. On the trailer for episode 4, we see he's trying to fish on the uneven coastline with his gill net. I think he had some sort of octopus or squid in there or something. It just fell right out, but I just don't see him sticking around long with that spot, even if he is really skilled. So he could be out next episode, possibly. Moving on to number 7, Justin Vititoe. I put Justin in number 7. He was ranked number 2 last time because I thought he was calm and had a good spot. But now we're going to see him complaining a whole lot, especially come episode 4, as the trailer showed him complaining about how much his stomach is growling. And we haven't even seen his camp, what he's been eating. Another poster commented that he didn't even bring fishing gear, and I said, okay, well, he has a nylon netting hammock. So could he use that to fish? I don't know. It appears he might not even try it out. So time will tell. His food rations are probably gone. He threw his duck away. So I just don't see him lasting much longer either. And in number 6, I'm putting Randy Champlain. Now I thought there was a 50% chance of him quitting on this episode because he lost his fire striker in the fire, which disintegrated, but he had a never quit attitude, and he went right to making his bow drill fire, which took him, looks like, all day, multiple tries, probably blowing out his arm. So now he has to keep the fire going 24/7, or he has to go through all that effort again. That's going to be really hard, especially when it gets windy, rainy, and cold. And he also is relying on food from the land, which he even admitted wasn't working, so he has to try for the sea. So he hasn't even been eating much. So I don't think he's going to last a whole lot longer. But you never know. He might move up in the rankings if he starts doing stuff right. But we'll see. So at number 5, we have David McIntyre. Now they didn't show him this episode because they showed what he was up to at day 7 on episode 2. He seemed alright then. He was concerned about his food source. He did bring a gill net, but has not used it yet that we know of. At any rate, we see him at the opening intro of the show catching some sort of bottom feeder with a rod he made out of a big stick. And that fish could give him a lot of calories. So He is going to be struggling to boil water apparently in the next episode, but I'm going to put him at number 5 because I know he's going to eat something at some point. So in rank number 4, we met Nicole Apelian. She's 45 years old, from Portland, Oregon. So that's important. Portland's a little inland, but it is just south of British Columbia. So it gets a lot of rain there, and a similar forest. So I'm sure she's learned a lot out there when it comes to what plants she can eat, what kind of shelter to build, and that's already showing in this episode. But what'd she bring? -30 sleeping bag, gill net, 2 emergency rations, an 80-pound test fishing line. Remember Desmond trying to hang his food with, I think he had 30-pound test line. But 80-pound test line, you can use that for quarters. You can use it for a whole lot of things. So we met her on day 7. And out of all the contestants, she seemed the most calm, content, happiest so far, even kind of bubbly. I really like how she's going to town and building her shelter. She's weaving spruce boughs and ferns to create sidewalls, which will be a big asset once those fall, early winter storms start rolling in that we saw in season 1. So unlike some contestants that have wide open shelters, she's going to be ready for that. So she has the wider knowledge on plants. She was eating sea asparagus at one point when she was looking at the bear, and that leads me to their location. It seems alright. It looks a little swampy in that cove she's in, so I don't know if she can catch the same marine life that some of the other contestants are with their gill nets. And there are bears around, so see if they start bugging like they did Tracy on this show. Now, she brought the 2 emergency rations. As we see with Jose later on, each emergency ration weighs 5 pounds, because Jose on his drop-off scene said he brought 5 pounds of moose meat. So 10 pounds emergency rations, that's a lot of calories. So she could just be living off those 2 emergency rations the last 7 days. And we haven't seen her really forage or catch any food yet. And she is really lean. She's the most lean contestant on the show right now. So we'll see what happens when emergency rations run out and she has to rely on catching food because she doesn't have the body fat that someone like Tracy does. So it shall be interesting, but she seems like a strong character. And rank number 3, we meet Jose Martinez this episode. He's 45 years old, from Spain, but he now lives in a native village in the Yukon, which is a territory of Canada. If you're not familiar with your Canadian geography, that is approximately a few thousand kilometers north of where we're filming, but it is inland. So he was in the Special Forces for the Spanish Foreign Legion, where he learned his outdoor skills. He kept learning more outdoor skills based around primitive technology through native elders from North America, from the Arctic, all the way down to the tropics. So far, he's really impressed me, especially on paper, because you check out what gear he brought. When they sent a drop-off scene I watched, because the poster told me to go watch it, which explained the gear he brought. And it's the most unique than anyone else on the show. First of all, his bushcraft knife. He made that himself. Number 2 is ferro rod. He also made that himself, and it appears to be bigger than the other contestants. So he should be able to have longer life use of it and be more productive in fire making. Number 3, he brought a 2-quart cast iron pot. And this is a really heavy duty pot. It could last thousands of fires, and pegs on the bottom to elevate it over coals. Doesn't weight, it's going to weigh a whole lot, but weight's not really an issue because these guys obviously aren't moving around a whole lot. Now canvas he brought, but he also brought his flannel sleeping bag. Now the flannel, it's a different bag than anyone else. Flannel does not melt and it's not flammable, so he can dry it out pretty easily if need be. He brought a gill net like everyone else besides Justin. Woodworking multi-tool that he's already used to fashion his own fire blower. I was impressed by that. Simple but very effective. Now using that fire blowing tool, you keep your face away from the fire, so you're not going to get smoke inhalation or sparks in the eyes, and it's going to take a lot more effort and energy to keep that fire going efficiently. I like the fact that he's using spruce roots for cordage. I don't recall any other contestant on season 1 or this season so far using the spruce roots, but my main man, Stroud, who is my idol, you know, from Spider-Man, back in 1994, he went on a year-long honeymoon with what was then his wife. They're split up now, but anyways, they went to a small lake north of Lake Superior, where they had to stay for the whole year, and they brought bare basics. So he used a lot of cordage from roots to build a shelter out there. And he filmed a lot of it himself, and then he made a documentary, and he put it in the Toronto Film Festival, and boom, he was a big hit. OLM hired him for Survivor Man, and the rest is history. You all know how popular he got. But anyways, I'll put that documentary at the bottom. It's called Snowshoes and Solitude. I found it really fascinating to watch it. Anyhow, going back to Jose, he might have similar knowledge and skill set to Survivor Man. I see some similarities already. However, we still yet to see what he is eating outside of his rations, which is 5 pounds of moose meat. It's high calorie packed food. But he looks like he's preparing for the long haul, fashioning tools that will be important later on. But we still haven't seen what he's eaten, so I can't put him ahead of Tracy, who I have in number 2. I have to hand it to Tracy. She's doing much better than I thought she would at this point in the game. She's taken full advantage of the great spot she drew. She has a strong shelter in place. She will have to close up that front wall at some point, but when the storms come. But we see her eating fish and crab, so she can possibly lie around, use her fat reserves for a long time if she's getting some food in, which we discussed before. Now the bears, they're starting to bug her a bit. I think the show probably adds in some bear sounds every now and then, but I don't blame them because what the contestants hear out in the woods, you can't hear through the microphone. And I see that she used a flare after the horn wouldn't work when a bear was actually in squatting distance of her shelter. She actually filmed it, so that's pretty spooky. But my question is, with the flare, it worked obviously. I looked up how the flares work. There's a starter button, you take off a cap, there's a lid with a striker, and you strike it with friction to start it, just like you would with a match. But can't you use these flares to start fires if all else fails? Like when Randy lost a ferro rod. He was still successful though. But what about Joe in season 1? Maybe he could have used a flare to start fire. Unless they were told they can't do that, but just do it off camera then, I guess. So that's pretty interesting. But in number 1, we have Lowe. Now they did not show him as this episode, because obviously we're at day 7 with everyone else now, and they did introduce the other characters without jumping around a whole lot. However, we see him catching those fish, awesome beach spot. Really haven't seen his shelter yet though, but he seems calm and he's catching food. Knowledgeable guy, so I'm going to keep him at number 1 for now. But we'll see as the show proceeds how the rankings go. But that's it for my review. Please subscribe and keep the comments coming along with your own rankings. Let's start a little competition, and I look forward to responding, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks. Goodbye.